Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather next 8 to 10 days in today's video. This will take us into the start of April. So we've got this prolonged spell of dry weather that we've had for around a couple of weeks now. It's on its way out though, and the models are looking much more unsettled as we go through into the Easter period on into next week as well. Looks like low pressure going to be properly driving the weather. So it's a well predicted change, well forecast change. It looks like it'll be arriving on Thursday to give us an unsettled bank holiday weekend, and that probably lasting to the very end of March and the start of April as well. I'll show you the detail in a second. We'll also have a look at what's going on in the Atlantic. We've seen further cooling of the North Atlantic during this month, so I'll have a quick look at that in a second. But very on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all of the pages. Have a browse through the widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks very much for doing that. This video adds on most of the pages, which open up from the content you're watching, they'll close back up again, and it all helps to pay for our website. We've launched a competition. The competition started on Sunday, so we're well into it now. Been a phenomenal response. Once again, you've still got plenty of time to enter. The competition doesn't close until 5 o'clock on Easter Sunday, with the winner announced at 7 o'clock here on the competitions page. This is the competitions page showing the prize that we're giving away. We've teamed up with metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation to give away this digital thermometer, and it's worth £25.50, so it's a fantastic thermometer. It's max min, and it'll tell you what the temperature has been in terms of maximum and the minimums, and the current temperature as well. So it's a lovely prize. All you have to do to enter is just email your name and address to gavsworthies@gmail.com. That's all you have to do. gavsworthies@gmail.com, send your name and address with subject, title, prize draw. You'll be entered into the prize draw, and well, someone's going to have to win this prize, and they will win this prize on Sunday evening here at gavsworthies.com. You have to be in it to win it, so that's what you have to do. You don't have to answer any questions or anything like that. It's a simple prize draw, so just email your name and address to gavsworthies@gmail.com, and somebody's going to win this prize on Sunday evening. You don't have to do anything to get a thermometer worth £25 from the comfort of your own home via Gavsworthies and metcheck.co.uk weather instrumentation. So just have a quick look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. This is how things were looking at the start of March. This is from the 3rd of March 2016, so back at the start of the month. This is from NOAA in America. This is the Atlantic Ocean just here, of course. Already a pretty cool North Atlantic Ocean. It's been going on for quite a long while now. Started early last year with the cold blob. I'm sure you remember all the talk about the cold blob in the North Atlantic. It's expanded through the course of the winter. So at the start of March, we did have quite a cold North Atlantic Ocean, but it's even colder now. Really have got some very deep blue colours there, indicating cold sea surface temperature anomalies through much of the Northern Atlantic. Notice the Northern Pacific is cooling as well. And the Southern Ocean's also looking pretty cool. I'm not sure if the model, if the chart here but has lost the plot a little bit, actually. All these blue colours do look very intense, and I'm not sure whether there's a problem with the resolution, but if this is right, then the Southern Oceans of the Atlantic and Pacific looking very cold, and the Northern Pacific and the Northern Atlantic also looking very cold as well. We've still got El Nino. We're going to do the new El Nino update at the weekend on Saturday evening. Still got the signature of El Nino, albeit rapidly weakening now. And this is quite interesting what's going on in the tropical Atlantic, because it's quite warm there off the coast of Africa. This is expanding. So if this warmth does move through into the tropics in this area just here, and if we start to get La Nina, the cold event, developing in the Pacific, the Equatorial Pacific, so if it's cold there and warm here, we may have to start thinking about a much more active hurricane season this summer and autumn. It's early days yet, but things could be shaping up, because had a 2 or 3 years of really quite quiet hurricane activity, but things could be shaping up for a really quite intense hurricane season this year. Got to keep an eye on where that's going. But in the northern Atlantic, it is really quite cold. And what I want to do is have a look at the AMO, and I'll be doing this sometime in April, and have a look at the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, because I think this is all cyclical. What we're seeing here, the cooling of the northern Atlantic Ocean, is the prelude to going into the cold AMO. The Atlantic goes through roughly 25 to 30 year cycles of warming and cooling. We're in the warm AMO technically. We started back in 1995. It shouldn't be over yet, but I think this is the prelude to going in to the colder phase, and I think we definitively go into that cold AMO during the 2020s. So we'll have a look at all that anyway, because I haven't got time to really go into it in depth in this video, but have a look in depth at the AMO sometime next month. But interesting developments in the oceans just at the moment. Right, let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts for the next week to 10 days. So we've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is area at sea, where high pressure, low pressure being moved down by jet stream running above. Below extrapolates to low pressure, red to high pressure. So the ECMWF very, very unsettled. Look at this, placing a really deep trough right over top of the country, with the jet stream tracking to the south as well. So that's cool, but the main thing is it's very unsettled. That's a really, really deep trough sitting right over top of the country, and this takes us, as I say, into the start of April, so really unsettled ECMWF. The GFS is a bit different, actually. It's similar, but the trough is being placed more to the south of us. We've got a bit of a ridge across central parts of Europe, so the jet stream is doing something like that. It's still changeable, but it's not as bad as the ECM. It's not placing that trough right over the top of the UK. Notice this area of high pressure or above average heights across northern Scandinavia as well. The GFS did eventually, towards the end of its run this morning, the midnight run, get to a really blocked setup with cold northeasterly winds plunging down across the country. But in the 8 to 10 day time frame, this isn't as unsettled as the ECM. The ECM is very, very unsettled today. The GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles the next couple of weeks. So the red line here is the 30-year temperature average, about average now. Going to go a bit above average over weekend, but that's associated with all these precipitation spikes, so that times things just nicely for quite a wet Easter. We go into the start of next week and around average temperatures then, and then after that we've got a huge amount of scatter here going through the first week of April. The dates on the bottom of the chart, so the 1st of April is just here, and you see the general trend of the ensemble is to turn things warmer. I spoke about this yesterday in video yesterday. The general trend of the ensemble is to begin to lift those temperatures well above average, so quite a warmish spell through the first week of April being signalled. However, there are several members, which included the operational run of the GFS, which keep it cold or go cold through that first week of April. So it's very uncertain actually what's happening as we're going into the first week or so of next month. The temperature anomaly looks like this for the coming week, about average really, little bit above average perhaps, if anything, but generally I don't think we're deviating too far from normal. Precipitation also coming out quite close to average as well. But this with the GFS, remember this wasn't as unsettled as the ECMWF. So the GFS generic charts, this is for Friday, Good Friday, and we're bringing a weather front across the country early in the morning to produce some rain in the southeast. Once that gets out of the way, I don't think Good Friday will be too bad a day. Things go downhill though on Saturday after a dry start. This area of low pressure just here dries in off the Atlantic, gives us quite a wet and windy day, and then it stays unsettled really through Easter Sunday and into Easter Monday as well, with low pressure never far away, so expect risk of showers or longer spells of rain. That takes us through into the middle part of next week with low pressure very close to us. I think we'll probably lose the risk of persistent rain through the course of next week, but it'll stay unsettled and there'll be showers, if not longer spells of rain close to the country. And then we go to day 10. This is the 1st of April, so into the start of a new month. And, well, high pressure beginning to ridge then, so we've got some ridging developing up to the north, and a little bit of ridging developing to the south as well. So basically we're starting to block off the Atlantic with the flow going a bit like that, trying to build a ridge within the 500 millibar flow. What eventually happened with the midnight run of the GFS is all of that ridging finished up looking like this. So we ended up, this was at 384 hours on the 7th of April, we ended up with really quite an impressive blocking feature here around Greenland. Whenever you see the yellow and orange colours getting going over Greenland, tells you that you've got significant blocking with low pressure through central and southern parts of Europe, and that just opens the door, it opened the door to this really, really cold northeasterly wind. That would have been driving in snow showers to the north and the east of the country and overnight frost as well. Early April is not too late to get snow, particularly so for the north. It's harder for the south, but even in the south you can get snow in early April, and that would be quite a wintry setup on the 7th of April. Now, this was right at the extended range of the GFS at 384 hours from the midnight run, and we actually have a look at the latest run, the 6 o'clock run at 384 hours, and you see it isn't anywhere near as extreme as that. Nevertheless, there's still a bit of a blocking feature there around Greenland and Iceland. We're still bringing in a fairly chilly easterly wind, but it isn't anywhere near as intense with the blocking around Greenland. We're not putting down that very, very cold northeasterly wind. But watch out for what's happening in the first week of April, because it's very uncertain. The ensembles want to turn things warmer, but I'm not sure about it really. I suspect we might have a colder start to April once again. The ECWF looks like this for the Easter weekend. Going to be really unsettled with this low pressure driving in off the Atlantic on Saturday. Easter Sunday looks really unsettled as well. This looks quite alarming for Easter Monday. The GFS doesn't show this, but the ECM has this area of low pressure just down to the southwest of the country, 980 millibars. If we go through to 24 hours to midnight on Tuesday, that low pressure is off the east coast of Scotland. So what's happened is that during Easter Monday, quite a deep area of low pressure, this one here, has moved across the country, and if that does come off like that, it's going to give us a really wet and windy Easter Monday. Now, the GFS is not as intense with this low pressure, so there's uncertainty as early as the Easter weekend, really. But if the ECMWF was to come off, we would be in for a very unpleasant Easter Monday indeed, with a lot of heavy rain and strong winds as well. We go through to the middle part of next week, and that low pressure goes away to northeast of Scotland, but we still remain unsettled with westerlies driving in off the Atlantic, and that just keeps going through to day 10, which is the 1st of April. We find the low pressure stuck there over top of the country, and the jet stream's going to the south a little bit as well, so it's pretty cool, but the main thing is it's still very, very unsettled. And finally, the GEM, really unsettled Easter being signalled here. There's that low pressure on Easter Monday, but the ECM is picking out the GEM, the Canadian model, has that in a very similar position at midnight on Easter Monday. By the time we get through to Tuesday, midnight on Tuesday, that low pressure is right over top of the country. That will bring a lot of heavy rain, particularly to England and Wales during Easter Monday. Thankfully, the GFS is not quite as extreme with this, but it does look a bit alarming here, what the models are trying to do for Easter Monday. Beyond that, well, it just stays unsettled through the middle part of next week, and we go up to day 10, which is the 1st of April, and still bring down this cool northerly flow across the country with low pressure in the flow, keeping it unsettled. So it looks like we're going to have a pretty unsettled phase setting up. Couple more days of dry weather for today and tomorrow. Make the most of it. It's on its way out. By the time we get through to Thursday, we'll start to see weather wobbling, and that sets us up for a really unsettled Easter weekend. Certainly be showers and longer spells of rain, and there is the possibility of a bit of a washout on Easter Monday, so we need to keep an eye on that one. Beyond that, just stays very unsettled really through into the very end of March and the start of April as well. And then where things go through that first week of April, it's quite uncertain. The GFS wants to warm things up, or the ensembles of the GFS model wants to warm things up through the first week of April. But watch out for the chance, no more than that, of quite a cold plunge at some point through that first week of next month. We'll keep you posted. Right, that's all for now. I've gone on for far too long. So thanks all for watching. Hope you found it interesting. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.